Hello girls, I hope you're staying safe at home. Now to continue with the atmospheric pollution chapter, today we move on to global warming. Now you know that our earth is warm. Why? Because about 3/4 of the sun's energy reaches the earth, and this energy is absorbed by the earth's surface, which causes an increase in the temperature of the earth's surface. So our earth is warm. Why? Because we receive the sun's energy and it is absorbed by the earth's surface, and some heat is also trapped by greenhouse gases. Now by greenhouse gases we are talking about certain gases which can trap the sun's energy, like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon compounds, also written as CFC, and water vapor. So these are the greenhouse gases, and you know they are present in the atmosphere, and as a result it is causing global warming. Now moving on to the greenhouse effect. Now heating of the earth and its environment. Our earth is warm. Why? Because the solar radiation, it is trapped by carbon dioxide and water vapor, which is present in the atmosphere. Now that is in a very natural environment, okay, and this is known as the greenhouse effect. Now this word greenhouse, it comes from the glass structures called greenhouses, okay. Now they are used to grow green plants in the cold regions. The glass structure, what does it do? It allows the sunlight to enter but does not allow the heat to escape out. It only allows the heat to come inside the glass structure, does not allow the heat to escape out. That is, the heat will remain trapped inside the greenhouse, okay. So as a result the greenhouse gets heated up. So that is why the term greenhouse gases. So what do the greenhouse gases do? It allows the sun's energy to enter into the earth's surface, but it does not allow it to escape out. So gases that contribute to greenhouse effect are carbon dioxide, water vapor, oxides of nitrogen, methane, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons, and they are known as the greenhouse gases, okay. So let's take a quick look at the percentage contribution of the gases towards the greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide, you can see 50%, methane 19%, CFC 17%, ozone 8%. We're talking about percentage, okay. Nitrous oxide 4%, and water vapor 2%. Now you don't have to go into detail, okay, regarding this percentage contribution. It is just for your knowledge. Now sources of greenhouse gases, that means from where do these greenhouse gases come up into the atmosphere. Now carbon dioxide, it is formed by burning of fossil fuels like coal, natural gas, and petroleum. So when petroleum or coal or natural gas burns, then carbon dioxide is produced, okay. It is also produced by industrial processes like the manufacture of lime, and also in certain fermentation units carbon dioxide is released. And biological decay of plants, when plants decay, when they get rotten, carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. And also, of course, you know, respiration by animals, human beings, and plants. What do we give out? We give out carbon dioxide. Now water vapor, the main source of water vapor is burning of hydrocarbon. In burning, carbon dioxide and water vapor is produced, okay. So this produces, when a hydrocarbon burns, it produces carbon dioxide and water vapor. Hydrocarbon means any substance that can burn which contains hydrogen and carbon, CHX. We don't know how many atoms of carbon and how many atoms of hydrogen, okay. So what do they produce? They produce carbon dioxide and water vapor. Now from where do we get oxides of nitrogen? You know, combustion of fossil fuels like coal, oil, natural gas, gasoline. In automobiles, means vehicles, okay, in cars, buses, and power plants produced at high temperature, where what happens then? Nitrogen and oxygen combines to form nitric oxide. In huge furnaces, when it is burned, the area around the furnaces, it becomes heated, it goes to very high temperature, and nitrogen and oxygen around it combines to form nitric oxide and also nitrogen dioxide. So some chemical industries also produce oxides of nitrogen as byproducts, which is given out from factories and industries. Now methane is emitted in large quantities when there is anaerobic decomposition of organic matter in soil. Anaerobic means in the absence of air, in the absence of oxygen, deep inside the soil. When there is decomposition of organic matter, then what is given out? Methane is given out. Okay, not only organic matter but even water and even sediments. And incomplete combustion of fossil fuels, if the burning process of certain fossil fuels is not complete, it is incompletely burnt, it produces methane and other hydrocarbon. Now let's take a look at the mechanism of greenhouse effect. Sunlight reaching the earth consists of three types of radiation. Okay, so from the sun there are three types of radiation coming in. First is ultraviolet rays, abbreviation is UV radiation. Visible radiation is which we can see, and infrared or IR radiation. Okay, so there are three types of radiation. So as this sunlight passes through the atmosphere is made up of different types of gases, air. Okay, so most of the UV radiation, ultraviolet radiation, is absorbed by the ozone layer. We have a layer of ozone around the earth, so it is absorbed. The UV radiation is absorbed by the ozone layer. 30% of the infrared radiation reaches the earth's surface, and it is responsible for heating up of the surface. That is the warmth of the sun actually we are receiving from the infrared or IR radiation. Now as the earth becomes hot, as it becomes heated, it starts emitting radiation from the ground. Heat will start coming up. Okay, so it will emit radiation with less energy than the incoming radiation. That is, the radiation which is coming from the sun has more energy than the radiation that is given off from the surface of the earth, and so it has a longer wavelength. So some emitted infrared radiation escape from the earth's surface and some are absorbed by carbon dioxide. So this infrared radiation, once it radiates out from the surface of the earth, it goes out into the atmosphere, but some of the infrared radiation, that is which causes heating up of the earth, is absorbed by carbon dioxide, and so it remains back on the earth. Okay, then the trapped radiation, whatever radiation has been absorbed by the carbon dioxide which has remained inside the surface of the earth, it warms the earth's surface and the lower parts of the atmosphere. That is why our earth is warm. Okay, so what are the advantages of the greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect has played an important role in the evolution of life on the earth. Okay, if there were no greenhouse gases, all the heat coming from the sun would have escaped from the earth at night, especially when the sun goes down. All the heat which is absorbed during the daytime would totally go away into the atmosphere. It would emit out, and then the earth would become as cold and barren as the moon. We would not be able to survive. Okay, so, and even it is necessary for evaporation of water, which forms clouds and which brings rain. Okay, so all the greenhouse gases are important for survival of life on earth, so now you know the importance of greenhouse gases. Okay, it traps the sun's heat and keeps it on the surface, making our earth warm. So of course, so greenhouse gases are important, but there must be a correct level, optimal level for them. If the proportion of greenhouse gases increases, which is the case right now, there are lots of greenhouse gases, what happens? The earth's surface temperature will become very high. It will rise. So rise in the average temperature of the earth's surface is called global warming. So this is your definition for global warming. So if there is a rise in the average temperature of the earth's surface, so the earth's surface must remain at an optimum temperature. So if there is a rise, then it is known as global warming. Even if there is a very small increase, about 1 degree Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius, it will be very, very difficult. What will happen? There are far-reaching consequences for the Earth's environment. Just if there is a rise of 1 degree Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius, what will happen? There will be a rise in sea level due to global warming. What will happen is the glaciers and the polar ice caps will melt, and it will lead to the increase in the sea level, because once these glaciers and the polar ice melts, it will come down with it will melt, and then it will come down through rivers, and it will reach the sea, and the sea level will rise, and it will flood several coastal areas in countries like India, Bangladesh, Netherlands and Maldives, which have lots of water bodies. Water will start creeping inside the land. Ultimately, who knows, in another 100 or 200 years, this earth might only be a water planet, no land, because of global warming. Global warming will cause more water to evaporate from the water bodies, forming more water vapor. And again, water vapor is a greenhouse gas, so it will contribute to the greenhouse effect, and global warming will further increase. Global warming can lead to changes in rain pattern and thus shift in crop zones. For example, the wheat producing zones will shift from Russia and Canada to the less fertile polar region. So as a result, what will happen? The crop yield will also suffer. Now, change in rain pattern due to global warming will affect trees and plants in forests that are natural habitats of the wildlife. So if the trees and the plants in the forest are affected, they will all die off, and then of course the wildlife will also come to an end. With the destruction of forests, what will happen? Many species of wildlife will also begin to die out. They will become extinct. So if the level of carbon dioxide continues to rise at the present rate right now, the earth will become warmer by 1 degree Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius by 2050. Just see, it's not very 30 years from now on, we will start seeing the consequences of global warming. So how can we reduce global warming? By minimizing the use of automobiles. Depending on the situation, one can use a bicycle or the public transport system or carpools, or even you can walk. Plant more trees to increase the green cover. If each one of you plant 1 tree, then we'll have more green cover. So there should be no burning of dry leaves and wood. Dry leaves and wood make very good, fertilizer. If you keep it in pots, it will turn into very good fertilizer, which you can add to your plants, and the plants will add to the green cover. Now, avoid smoking. It is illegal to smoke in public places and workplaces nowadays, because smoke is harmful not only for the one who is smoking, but also to the ones who are sitting nearby, who are known as passive smokers. And of course, you need to help the people in understanding global warming, because most of the people are not aware of it. It is you who should make the people aware. Okay. Now, next we come to ozone. Now, I already told you ozone is a gas which forms a layer around the surface of the earth, okay, above in the atmosphere. Of course, it is a light bluish gas found in the upper layers of the atmosphere. Where do you find it? You find it in the stratosphere. Ozone is formed. How is it formed? By the action of ultraviolet rays of the sun on oxygen. So oxygen, when it is acted upon by the ultraviolet rays, it turns into ozone. Now, what is the function of the ozone? You know that ozone layer is like a blanket in the atmosphere above 16 kilometers. If you travel 16 kilometers above the earth's surface, okay, the ozone layer is there. Ozone absorbs the harmful ultraviolet rays coming from the sun, and it does not allow the ultraviolet rays to reach the earth's surface. So it protects the earth from the harmful effect of the ultraviolet rays. Okay, so what are the harmful effects? It causes skin cancer. It destroys many organisms necessary for life in general. So high energy ultraviolet radiation, also known as far UV, helps in breaking oxygen molecules into oxygen atoms. So the oxygen gas which is present in the atmosphere, by far ultraviolet rays, a very strong radiation, okay, it breaks oxygen into atoms. Now oxygen atom reacts with oxygen molecule to form ozone. So what is the net reaction? Oxygen when it comes in contact with ultraviolet rays, forms ozone. Now the ozone produced absorbs ultraviolet radiation of the longer wavelengths, forming oxygen molecule and oxygen atom. So again, what happens? The ozone which is produced will form oxygen and one oxygen atom. Now, destruction of ozone layer. Now, decrease in the quantity of ozone in the upper layer of atmosphere is called depletion of ozone. Depletion means become less. Okay, so it leads to the formation of ozone hole. Now, if there is a hole in the ozone, the ultraviolet rays will come into the surface of the earth, and of course it is very, very dangerous. So because of the ozone hole, the ultraviolet rays of the sun reach the earth and causes diseases like skin cancer. Okay, so in 1980, imagine, that was very long time back, scientists detected an ozone hole above Antarctica. So I hope that hole has been repaired, or else we are receiving lots and lots of ultraviolet rays. Now, an equilibrium that must be set up between generation and destruction of ozone. Generation means making of ozone, and destruction of ozone, so that under the normal condition the concentration of ozone remains the same. That is, it won't become more also, it won't become less also. Like amount of ozone made must be equal to the amount of ozone destroyed. Okay, so that the ozone concentration remains constant. Pollutants like oxides of nitrogen, free chlorine radicals are produced in the atmosphere. So molecules of ozone reacts with these pollutants. Which pollutants? Oxides of nitrogen, free chlorine radicals. Okay, so the ozone reacts with these pollutants and it gets destroyed, and as a result there is depletion of ozone layer. Depletion means less. Now, chemicals responsible for destruction of ozone layer is excessive use of chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, chlorofluorocarbons, CFC, also known as freons, enter the atmosphere because of the excessive use in the solvents, aerosol sprays, that is deodorants you use, propellants, that is this HIT and all we use for insect repellents and all, refrigerants, and blowing agents for plastic foams. Okay, so chlorofluorocarbons are decomposed by ultraviolet rays to highly reactive chlorine. So what happens? Chlorofluorocarbon, it is decomposed, it is broken down by the ultraviolet rays to form highly reactive chlorine. One atom of chlorine, it is known as the free radical of chlorine. Okay, so it is formed in atomic form, means one atom. So this free radical reacts with ozone and chlorine monoxide is formed. So when it reacts with ozone, chlorine monoxide is formed and oxygen is formed. So as a result, what is happening? The ozone is getting depleted, and chlorine monoxide further reacts with the atomic oxygen to form more free radicals of chlorine, and then this reaction will continue. So again, this free radical destroys ozone and the process continues, giving rise to large scale ozone depletion, causing holes in the ozone layer. Now, next is fuel of planes. When fuel of planes burn, a large quantity of nitric oxide and other gases are emitted in the atmosphere. Nitric oxide, okay, it reacts with ozone to form nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. This nitrogen dioxide reacts with ozone to form nitrogen trioxide and oxygen. So here also you can see what is getting destroyed. Ozone layer is getting destroyed. Okay, so let's see what are the harmful effects of ozone. Ozone is a poisonous gas with a chlorine-like smell. It causes respiratory problems. It damages plants and trees. It causes damage to automobile tires and asphalt. Asphalt means the material that is used to make roads. Okay, then in the stratosphere, in the atmosphere, the reactive species of chlorine gets locked up and it is unable to stop depletion of ozone. Now, locking of chlorine monoxide and free radicals of chlorine is known as scavenging. This is the definition of scavenging. What is scavenging? Locking of chlorine monoxide and free radicals of chlorine is known as scavenging. So in the atmosphere, nitrogen dioxide scavenges chlorine. So here you can see nitrogen dioxide, it reacts with chlorine monoxide and traps it. Okay, so it scavenges. So in the atmosphere, nitrogen dioxide scavenges chlorine monoxide, and methane, you can see methane scavenges chlorine atom. That is here. That is, it traps the chlorine atom. So these scavengers react with chlorine monoxide and free radicals of chlorine. So with this, children, we come to the end of atmospheric pollution and even to the end of the syllabus for this year. So what we are going to do further, I'm going to tell you in the WhatsApp group. Till then, children, stay safe. God bless you.